Yes. Okay. So, right. So, can Group 1 give us a presentation of where they're up to and where they're going with what they've got?
Yep. We're still waiting for one member.
Okay.
But I guess we can just start. Yeah.
Yep.
She's probably on her way. Yeah, we decided pretty early to work with ambulance simulator in the pre-hospital, but we were focusing on 360 video at first, trying to create an experience where it's not interactive at all. You just watch a movie in VR while sitting in the car that moves according to the video. But then it was a lot of issues getting the 360 camera and also just communicating with people from yeah, that could provide us with videos, and it was just really hard to get started actually. And we also kind of knew what to do, so as soon as we got the video we would be almost done immediately.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, then we decided to make it more of a game. So we have now made a driving demo in a city that works with wheel and pedals and the VR headset. And I think that works pretty good now. Yeah.
And so you will link back to the ambulance simulator. Are you going to link it to the movable platform?
Yeah, we are trying to kind of distinguish between our integration project and this project, because we are doing kind of the we are trying to make a more realistic drive feeling in our integration project.
Right.
So we're trying to simulate the physics and kind of doing more in LabVIEW and stuff.
So you have started working with LabVIEW, and you've got a way of connecting your simulator to LabVIEW. You've found a way of doing that.
We are currently working on finding a solution for that.
Yeah, we have been talking to Paul Eric.
He's provided us with some input on how it works. And what we've recently managed to do is running the program, or the LabVIEW program, on our computers. Now you just have to make sure everything is working as correctly before we try to connect it to the actual working stuff. So we can then see if we can get everything to play together.
Yeah, so what we were thinking for the Experts in Teams project was that we focus more on the game and run the current solution for LabVIEW over there. Because the current solution are just the simulator or the hydraulics are just responding to the pedals and wheels. Yeah. So we can run any game on top of that. But we don't know how to, because we also need the signals from the pedals and wheels to our computer, to Unreal, and also to the other computer, to LabVIEW and the hydraulics.
Yeah, but this will be more for the integration project.
Yeah.
Because for Expert in Team we're focusing on the actual demo, and we're not too worried about it would be a nice end goal to make it work in the ambulance simulator, but our main goal is to make a good prototype with just using the wheel and the VR headset that we have downstairs.
Yeah, but we were hoping to use the current solution that's over there. Just
yeah.
Yep. Okay. So that sounds good. So the next few weeks you're polishing that up, but you'll
and we also will try to get some users to test it. And user testing.
So you probably want to organise that before Easter. So so you need to talk to the guys over there about getting some of their when the good timing for doing that testing.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any feedback you want from the rest of the group? Do you want them to be testers at some point?
Yeah, that would be good. We're currently implementing a minimap for the demo, So when that's up and running, it will be interesting to have someone test it, I think.
Okay.
As it is now, it's just driving through a city without much direction or anything, so yeah. When we have the minimap up, I think that will...
Yeah, GPS.
So do you have Norwegian road rules?
Sorry?
Do they have Norwegian road rules? So like stop signs in your demo and roundabouts that you go around in the right way?
No.
It's just around the street.
Yeah, it's really simple. It's just a city grid that we have set up, but that's possible.
Could you put on some stop signs?
We have some obstacles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So did you put in like the moose coming in? I
not
think
the
that
moose, but just a man.
a man that slides in billboarded. Because if you've done the Norwegian driving, you've done some of the Norwegian driving, you know, the people that come in sliding. Yeah, because I thought that would be very fun to put in just as a kind of internal reference to driver education in Norway. But I think everyone has to do it. So driving. Okay, so that seems good. So of course, testing won't happen until after Easter because but when would be a good time? So you guys should also organise with each other time to test each other's programs and be each other's users to some extent, right? So that you get some input from other people. Okay. You do, however, count each other as experts in VR because you've been thinking about VR for more than what most people think about VR about. So yeah, that's cool. Okay. Anything else to add? No.
I don't know what if we should talk about challenges or something like that.
Well, and you could also do you have two situations that you're going to report in your process report?
We have at least the one that I started explaining with 360 video, and then we had to because that was kind of a thing that we suddenly just realized that we needed to change the project entirely.
Yep, that's one situation. That's with any project-based situation. It would be nice for you guys to also have at least one, possibly two, personal group-based interaction situations where you had feelings.
What does it have to be?
We still have time.
Don't have time for feelings, what did you?
Does it have to be or conflict?
No, it doesn't have to be a conflict, but a situation that you can discuss, potentially with an action you took. So usually it's needed because usually you don't have to take actions when something's positive. But you can have a situation where it was confusing or where something was unknown, and so you took actions to resolve that. So it's not action negative, as in there was no conflict, but more there was confusion or uncertainty or you were unproductive. So yeah, those sort of things could also be situations.
Yeah, we did also have the language thing where we sometimes would start. For example, me and Benjamin would start discussing something in Norwegian and suddenly turn into a discussion about the actual project, and then we would have to repeat everything because people were not, or sometimes we weren't even repeating it, so yeah.
That would be an interpersonal situation you could write about.
And we have definitely addressed that, and we have tried to be better at it.
So you can do a Citra on that.
Yeah, probably.
Excellent. Okay, that's group one. Thank you. Right, group two. Yay! Hello, group two. Sorry for oversharing this morning. I damaged it by sharing too much of my life with them. So they're still in recovery. But so, do you want to give a presentation of where you guys are at?
So I don't know if anyone remembers what our topic is. We're doing a disease simulator. So we had a discussion a while ago that we're going to have two separate rooms. One is more of a historic room where people can pick a disease, they can grow it or put it on the map or whatever, and then they can see how the disease spread over like a specific time. They'll have the timeline and a death toll, and then they can learn about the disease, how it spread, all that kind of stuff. And then there's a game room where they can then pick a disease and try to either save the world or destroy the world with like vaccines, antibiotics,
part of it so that people can actually learn that vaccines and antibiotics are actually useful, because there's quite a few people nowadays that don't think that. Last week we actually built a paper prototype of it and tested it. That was very interesting. We got a lot of good feedback from it, so we just had like a giant paper globe that people would interact with. Yeah, if you guys want to see pictures of it, we have that.
You can plug into the one on the wall there if you the cable across. And fondle the back of the machine. There you go. Yeah, that's reaching around behind it. Okay, so.
Oh yeah. So that was our paper prototype.
So it would be them entering the room, that person in VR would enter the room, and then we had different questions to ask.
So we'd actually made a paper prototype like 3 weeks before, and then we actually got to talk to an expert in VR in Oslo, and so then we completely changed our entire paper prototype and most of our idea for the way we were going to do it. So we ended up with this, and you're going to add like little diseases to throw at it or see how people would actually interact with the disease. So it was a very interesting experience. We learned a lot from it. It was very hard to make a paper prototype of the VR experience. Yeah. What do you talk about? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, non-paper prototype.
Did you have digital transformation?
It's up to you.
Yeah, sure. So we've been working on the VR prototype. It's hopefully almost up and running.
We're hoping to maybe test to make sure it works today, and then after Easter do some user testing. Part of the reason why we did user testing was because we didn't know how people would interact with the globe, so we didn't know if they would walk around it or try to touch it and like zoom, or how they would use the diseases. Would they throw it at them? Would they place it? Would they just grab it and think that something would happen? So,
because when we talked to the expert at Agents, we initially had a menu that people could press that was very much inspired by a web interface with buttons.
So that's what we
But then he made me try the lab by Valve, and we found out that it's much more fun to pick up things. So that's why we had those small balls that we could, for example, pick a disease just by picking up the ball and throw it on the globe, for example. Yeah.
It's certainly a new kind of interaction design. It's more physical and more spatial.
And that's the reason why we had to throw out our first paper prototype, because like most people here, we haven't really experienced VR, so we tried to design it in a way that we've experienced before, so for like web and mobile and screens pretty much. And when she went to go meet the experts, like we realized, yeah, that's really, really not gonna work. So
yeah, he said we have to think more of an interior designer.
Yeah, and that helped a lot actually.
Items could have a function rather than buttons.
Yep. At the film school, like last week when I was down with the film school, that was the same deal that they're having with making film in VR. Is they're used to controlling the camera and controlling framing. And now people can look around and it's kind of, we can't tell a narrative because we're not in control of the frame. So, again, rethinking how you design is critical. Yep. So that's good. So you've got a project situation where you again did prototypes and restructured. Do you have process? Yes. A couple of situations.
I think I can think of two.
Two. Right.
So one was a couple of weeks ago where it was after she met with the guy. We were trying to figure out, so are we going to have one room for everybody to see? Are we going to have one room for the game, or is everything going to be in one room? Because like some things may be easier, but some things are harder to program. So we thought we would only take a couple hours to do that. We took the entire day to figure that out.
Right.
Just decide on how many
how is it
rooms
gonna
there
be?
should be, or if we should have an elevator.
Yep. Okay. So you've got a couple of and so you have emotions associated to that.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's that. Group 2. Do you have any questions that you want from the audience? Do you need people to come and use a test?
Yes. Sometime not that long after Easter, hopefully.
Right. Okay. So I'm with this plan of having the 4th being a kind of gap day, because some of you have assignments and stuff. Maybe we can shift some of the time into the Friday or the weekend after we can do some user testing with each other as part of the kind of time. Yep. Okay. Right.
Pretty good.
Okay. Group. Yep. Looking nice. Group 3. Because you guys are Group 4. And you guys are Group 5. Group 3. So 3 for the win.
So we initially were going to make a physics game with space and going to planets and everything. But we met with a teacher, a physics teacher, because we were aiming for a little bit younger children. And his ideas were really bad, and because he didn't really understand what VR was, so he showed us like some flash animations from 2001 and said we wanted to update them, put them in VR. So we didn't get really anything from it, so we met with the Viken Center instead.
Yeah. And I assume that they were slightly more forward-looking.
Yeah. And we decided to rather try to make an experience rather than like education. So we are going to travel to different planets, and we are going to have like learn a little bit about the solar system and everything. And so far there's not that much to show from the actual game.
But you've got some drawings. I've seen you guys have done quite a bit of drawings and material that way.
Yeah, a storyboard on how we want the game to play out.
Okay. I've seen some of them, so I only want to show some of the other people, because you could go over there and show it on the big screen up there, if you want to. But you can also ask for feedback from the rest of the group. So is there feedback? So you're doing an experience in VR.
So we're focusing more on the modeling and just to make everything look real. And Yep. That's what we're aiming for, at least.
Okay. And you've got a couple of, you've got one situation where someone left the group.
Yeah.
So that's one good situation to talk about, and you can do some Citra on that. And you have at least one other. You don't have to tell us what it is, but you do have another situation that you can write about.
Yes, we have.
Oh, good.
And we had feedback from NASA, and NASA sent to us a lot of possibility to create some 3D models, but it's not so good for us because it's a lot of polygons on these 3D models.
Right.
And first I used 3D Max for modeling, but it's not
strong enough to deal with.
Yeah, because I forget. And we use Blender for create some models, and of course we transform these models in VR program. And of course we had some problems with it, but we
are working on it. Yep. Okay.
We had it downscale program, or
the models.
Demo really, a lot, because we went from 2 programmers to 1. And we had a VR headset with the other member, but we lost the VR headset when they left.
So resources as well as people and equipment. Yep, that makes things harder. Yep. Okay. Right. So likely to do some testing later in April. Would be okay. Okay, so group 4. 24. Woo.
click on medium click. So yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're making a conducting game, sort of Guitar Hero inspired, except with conducting instead. We ended up focusing more on sort of arcade rather than allowing you to really control everything yourselves. That mainly due to the scope of the project.
So there was a really interesting talk by when I was at GDC. I went to a post-mortem talk of Guitar Hero from the developers, and yes, they started out having an actual playing mode, but only one of their staff ever got to the point where he was good at it, because it was really hard to play music with the Guitar Hero controller. It's just really hard to be creative in that space. Much better to mimic and copy an arcade style.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll just show off. This is from Saturday. So that's when the day we got the. I don't know if you have any sound.
That should have sound.
It should have sound.
You might have to turn it up on the machine.
It's 100.
Oh no, on the TV. So
yeah,
fondle around the back and lift up on the knob. So there should be a knob there, and you should be able to lift up on the knob, or towards you maybe. That you pressed it. Press it again, and then push left or right. There we go.
Take it from the beginning. So yeah, so yeah, you're supposed to always conduct with your right hand, following the pattern, and from time to time you get the chance to cue in music through that ball there, so you just have to go up and get it. And this is completely buttonless, so you don't actually have to hit anything for this to happen. So yeah, we have all the instruments in place. So in progress, we have all the instruments in place, all the terrain is in place. The map or the song isn't completely transposed the entire way through yet, but we're getting through to that. So today was sort of the last day for polish, at least currently. So yeah, I'm trying to look a bit more around to see to show off the map. But that's not necessarily easy while trying to keep the song going. So yeah, so today said was last day of polish, and we're going over to writing the report. Or some members have already started writing the report, and we will probably need testing after Easter. We've already done a bit of testing, but not like official, just sort of checking the initial responses. The only thing we really have left to polish is some more visual effects on the cues, and then calibrate where the hitboxes for the hands should be, because currently now we just have them in a standard position. We've tried to attach them to the head, that didn't work.
Because they move, when you look around they go, whoa, yeah.
So now we have them locked in one place, and that functions relatively well. The problem is that people obviously have different heights. So the plan now is to basically ask you to calibrate it when you start, like say where you want the top hitbox to be. Our approach has generally been to, for the first 2 or 3 sessions, actually do this properly, and then now everything's just you know, makes sense.
For calibration, there are some interesting. So the interaction design, I don't know if I talked to you guys about it, but the Halo way that they did Master Chief Wake Up and Look Up versus Look Down mouse inversion, right? and it was interesting because last year I was external for an interaction design master's thesis in Bergen, who was talking about interaction design and was talking about Halo, but then didn't know about this particular trick, which is what Halo did, is they asked you to look up, and then whichever way you moved your mouse was mouse inversion or not. Right? So you ask the player to do something, watch what they do, and use that as the default. So for orienting the height, you could ask people to like hit something or like reach out and grab something, and whatever height they're reaching at is the height you use as the top.
So currently the way we're doing it is that we ask you to, well, we want you to just have your hand in an upright position where you're starting and press a button, and then this is where the top of the stair, or the top stairs will be.
Yeah, but you see what you could do is because that feels like calibration.
Yeah.
Right. So one way you would round that is you could say things like, please point to the door. Right? And point to the door, they'll put their hand somewhere which is a pointing position. Right? Yeah, or yeah. So you can ask them to point at things, and then where those pointing locations are become the hitboxes. Right? And because they can visually see those things, you know, so yes, the orchestra would like you to point at them to make sure you can see them all. So point at the thing, point at the guitar, well, no, point at the violins, point at the oboe, or double bass. Is that a double bass?
That's a double bass.
Right.
But there is oboes on the other side.
Okay. So yeah, so you could ask people to point at things, have objects that are, and then you have 4 pointing locations, and then you don't have to tell them that you're calibrated, and they are within their reach because you know they've pointed there. So yeah, so that might be one way around that. And also, if you tie it into narrative, that also works quite well in terms of, you know, there will be something there and you have to kind of highlight it or something. Okay, and you've got 2 situations.
We've got one.
Right.
And then we can probably hype up the other one.
talk it up.
We found 3 that we could write.
That's good. Actually, for all of you, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, during the gathering, we are having some students head over to the gathering for a wee pop-up stand at the gathering to show off some of the wheelchair VR stuff, because they are wanting to show off their stuff. But that's available for the day, so if somebody here wanted to take something and show it off at the gathering on the Saturday of Easter, there is an opportunity to show it off in a Vive over to people at the gathering, if you want to get some input from a bunch of tired, sleepy, angry gamers. Yeah, you get time for it today. So, would any of you be interested in doing that? Okay, maybe if you're interested later you can do it with me, but yeah, so at least we've got some 30s going. We'll pay for the ticket entry and stuff, but yeah. Okay, so that looks like it's come along quite well, and it's looking like a bunch of games in VR that look like that. So, yep, excellent. Had external collaborations? Have you had any further contact with anyone, or are you just doing this mostly internally?
We sort of found out that there wasn't really any rules in conducting.
There's a specific start point for conducting.
Yeah, well, you always have the beats and downward movements.
Yeah,
But you don't really need to follow the movements apparently, and it's more like, especially if the more professional you are, the less strict are the movements, pretty much.
Because we were looking at like videos of people doing like, yes, for instance, like conducting for dummies series.
Yeah.
And they're like, I looked at it for queuing, and they went like, yeah, you know, then you can like give a point or just make eye contact or just like do whatever the fuck. So we went like, okay, you know, that means we can do whatever. So
yeah, one of the major challenges there is that computers like instructions, and humans tend to be flexible, and so you know, anything that gives the impression that I'm supposed to play faster or slower or when I'm supposed to come in is enough. And so a dirty look means, oh wow, too slow, and so it gets speed up. So it's not, it's really hard to systematize it. Okay, so so you're going to have some testing after Easter?
Yeah.
Yep.
We won't change anything, but this is right about it.
That's somewhat demotivating for your testers.
Well, I mean, you might, but yeah, we're going over to just writing the report. So.
It's a bit like going into a reference group and saying, please tell us your experience of the course. We're not going to change anything. Yeah, that's what it feels like anyway. Right, no. Okay, so group 5. Right. Oh, you're gonna show some stuff over there as well. Excellent. So I'm looking forward to this because, you know, and Tarrier, if you're going to be taking the Advanced Game Technology course next semester, it is an elective, but
it's probably the best place.
it's probably, well, it's the elective I'll be teaching. But I'll be teaching it in this, so it better work. You have self-interest.
I'm trying to get to go to exchange next semester, so I won't be here.
Well, you can be in my course, because I will be in New Zealand.
No, because the student loan associated group don't allow going exchange and taking local courses. You need to have all
your courses have to be at the foreign university.
At least there's lots of meetings trying to change that because everyone's fed up with it. But national rules.
Wow. Okay. Weird. Good that you're having meetings though. But okay, so it's not going to be you taking it. Oh well. So you're doing this for altruistic reasons. Okay. So work in progress.
Okay. We start with the problem first. Our group in collaboration with front-end group, and at first we come up with different idea, and then we conduct some discussions in the current VR environment. And when we had a discussion in that environment, we realized that it's not convenient enough for us to do it, because at first, when imagine there's 6 people in the group, you cannot differentiate who is who. The second one is that you don't know who is speaking. So imagine 6 people are speaking, you don't know who is speaking, who to follow. And the third one is that there's some physical activities is not stable enough in the environment that make people feel easy. Some people feel easy. So based on those reasons, we decide not to build something new, but we improve on the current environment to make it more convenient, more effective to use. And we based on it, we work on first one is avatar, the second one is the voice indicator, and the third one is the networking. So the first one will be avatar.
Yeah. So this is the state we find on the application. It's not much different now, but still we are working on a few things. So we did a few interviews. Actually today we also did some other user testing, and the feedback is always that the avatar is fairly creepy. So flying hands, this kind of very unnatural body should change. There is no personalization whatsoever, so it's difficult to recognize people. I think today, for the first time, we had from Jovic, we had to talk with a girl on the other side, and it was very strange to have a female voice coming from that thing.
From that thing.
There's room to improve. This was a mock-up we were showing during the user testing as easy improvement. To try to find a way that would have been possibly easier to implement. Nothing is ever easy. So to have less of a human body, more of a schematic simple avatar, which would be less characterizing of the person that it's inside the virtual environment. And we got generally a positive feedback, even though cartoonish or very human detailed, but very good would have been better. But we know of the uncanny valley, and we knew that this would be very difficult to get right for us at the moment, because it would be probably as creepy as it is right now, the way we can do it. So for now we are still working on getting cubes with pictures.
Yeah, as you told, it is so easy, but our problem was that we have implemented these cubes, but we were struggling. What's the problem? That when we insert the cube inside the environment, we can see the face over the cubes, but when we replace it over the head of the character, the picture will be removed. Today we were speaking with Trondheim, and they gave us some feedback. They told that maybe this is just because of some codes which were added before, since we haven't started from the scratch. And then there was some codes which were changing the color of the head of the characters, and maybe they have some conflicts with each other, which is making this problem for us.
Right. So, because if you go back to the start of the avatars, you can see that they have different color on their heads.
Yep.
And we didn't realize that, so we set a long time. So first we started looking how can we do it in Unreal, so we started looking at decals and different materials, and we found that nothing worked. And so that first now we had some talking and said that maybe the material they set in the viewport actually doesn't matter, because they are somewhere in the code, and that's the big problem with this project, because it's been a master project, which we all know that master project prototypes are crap because you don't think about documentation or anything. So you have 5 different code versions of one feature because you research it, and you don't really know where anything is. So we didn't understand that, we didn't get that before we're there right now.
Right.
So we're trying that.
Yep.
And still having problems, so we're trying to see if we can, together with Trondheim, find a solution to this right now, or today.
That seems like a good point to be progressing on. And yes, lightweight is often better than easy. So, because lightweight doesn't imply that it won't take, that it's easy to do. It just means that it's kind of, there's less of it to do, right? So, but it can also take you a long time to do it. And a good lightweight solution can take a lot of time, and a heavyweight solution can also take a lot of time, right? So, yeah, but so choosing your words carefully is also quite useful. Particularly, I think, just from a meta level here, this connects to some of the discussions we have about like when an interaction designer says, "Oh, this is easy," and a program goes, so understanding like how that word operates in different contexts.
Can't you just do that?
Yeah, can't you just? Don't use the word just. Yeah, so no, there's that. That comes from a video. Who was just telling me they banned the word "can't you just"?
The same thing applies to designers as well.
See.
I was joking. We were trying to find a way that it was make sense for interaction design and wasn't complete suicide, but
it can be challenging all the time. At least you have got programmers and designers together, rather than being a lawyer and someone doing cooking or something. Do they have food science engineering?
Sure they have. Maybe that lawyers actually have a great talent within programming.
The food scientists could have an amazing programming chops. So okay, and yep.
The next one.
Yep.
Yep.
Voice indicator.
Just now is about avatar. The second one is voice indicator. Like you say, the current one when people keep talking, you don't know the sound come from who. So we indicate the new element with the red button. So whenever someone's speaking, the red button will appear on the screen. And we did try the user testing around. They easily recognize that who is speaking. Yeah, it's working this way. And we also add in another element. If you notice the current one, the text, the name tag here of the people, when they move around or they flip away, the text will also lift. So the people who stand in front of you, very hard to read what name is, what is your name. Yeah. So now we make the text, all the name tag face to the player. So whenever they flip or they run away, the text is still displayed.
So you billboard it to,
easy for us to read the name.
So for me, I've got a really interesting one. If you have a writable surface that does that.
That might be something because today's unit test we figure out so the two people tried to write on the blackboard or whiteboard, sorry, and they had some feedback that if you stand from a sharp angle, you can't see what's on the whiteboard. So it could be fun to see if you had time to do something about that.
Yes, because one of the things I just realised, I realised last week when I was talking about VR and this collaborative space, is that with billboarding, like you're doing for names there, if I have a writable surface, I don't have to hold it up and show you guys, because it's billboarded. When I write here, you see it as pointing towards you, and you guys see it as pointing towards you. So you see what I'm writing, and you see me writing it here, and you see me writing it there, and I see me writing it here. So it's like I'm always constantly showing it to everybody. Right? So I think conceptually that's a really interesting feature of a writable surface, which you're billboarding that. So if you billboard your writable surface, I can interact and everybody can see what I'm doing, which I think, it might be a really, that's it, like, if you've got the program for billboarding done.
So, I mean, that's, the whiteboard was already existing. So, but I think there might be a problem that it's so much, it's connected to that with saving and not the interface, but the environments. It might take too much time to change all that, but I mean, it could be worth looking into.
You could have a look at what's possible to do there. Yeah, it is saving to a texture. So it is just looking for the bounding box of the collider, and you share the texture, not the bounding box. So it might be that you can take that bounding box and have like copy the thing, make a duplicate of it, and see if you can make a small version which is now billboarded and copies its texture rather than though yes, we'll have to see if it's sharing the texture or if it shares your hand location and your pen location, and then I draw it given your input on my screen. So yeah, you have to look at that so you can see how it's doing it. Yep.
Start digging more into the existing code.
Yep, and write about that as well.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. That's good. And
so I think for the future, so for the rest of the day, rest of this course, I think most of what we will be able to do is trying to finally find the problem with the avatars.
Yep.
And finally get that done, because it's been quite frustrating to not feeling any progress there.
Yes, I know it is a challenge in working on a large project. Yeah. It's the nature of it, but it's a common experience.
Yeah, and the good thing is that we have so much. We have possibly very much to write about in the process reports, because since you have the collaboration over Discord and VR, you have. There's so much easier to create conflicts there. Or not necessarily conflicts, but we found challenges. So we found that, for instance, that in our group we didn't see the problem, but they saw that, for instance, that me and Giovanni talked way much more than Anita and Kaka in the beginning, and we weren't able to identify that, because when you're in the group, I see that she looks at me and nods and sits here agreeing and the same with Kaka, but they can see that in the VR space. So that was actually quite helpful to have that other part seeing those problems that we didn't see ourselves.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
And then we have some other working problems that we try to sort out and try to get better at that.
Yeah, good. And your last with networking issues?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so yeah, so there are some stability issues with the networking that two people in Trondheim is maybe looking at, so that we have some problems with that. We can't always connect everyone to the server when a specific computer is being the server, but it works with the other computer. So there's some strange stuff there, and there's also quite a lot of lag, especially if there are multiple people there, and also a problem with hands flying everywhere. And as we talked about in the beginning, there's the way the models are, that can be quite a problem to see if, well, my hand is there.
It would be worse with arms, though.
Well, look at this. Would I have a long arm, or would my arm get much?
You could attach the arm at the shoulder and just have the dangling arm hanging under the hand. Broken the connection.
Yeah. So there's some problem there. I'm not sure what we will be able to finish there, because they have used quite a lot of time there on the networking and haven't seemed to figure out exactly, because again, existing projects have multiple iterations with people adding new stuff, and the blueprints are quite full and not really good commented, so it's not that easy always to figure out what's happening.
So one of the additional learning outcomes is also, as you're saying, Master's project's terrible, you're about to make one of these terrible things yourself.
Yes.
Try to make it less terrible yourself than the things you've seen in the past, right? So try and leave the world a better place than you found it. And so with your Masters, yes, try and take some of the lessons that you've got from comment and interaction here and take that into your own development. Right? Yep. Okay. And any comments you need from the audience?
I don't know. You would need those to do the testing. I don't know how much more testing it needs or feedback.
About the testing, for the voice indicator we got for now kind of mixed feedback. It was because it's still not as good as having directional sound. Of course, it's more of a
hack, really, because sound goes through Discord rather than through the game itself.
Right, and yes, we're still working on getting the Discord API to give us directional sound. Yeah.
So that could work for now. I don't think we can find a much better solution if not directional sound.
Yep.
So for further testing, it would kind of depend of what we can get together in the next few weeks, so that we have something more to test. Because for now we did mostly research on how should we do things, then testing on how they turn out.
There is a lot to research in this area. Yeah, there's a lot of things open. Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, thank you everybody. So everybody thank you. We're making a range of good progress. Everybody has actually got some form of prototype. You guys have some stuff, but not there yet. And so yeah, I think these are 5 interesting VR projects. As I said, I'm going to be presenting some of these in July in New Zealand. We're also there is a HCI conference in Oslo in October this year. So Naughty Kai is in Oslo in October. There is a deadline for 4-page and full paper 12-page presentations. If you are interested, one of the things you could look at doing is writing up a 4-page on the human interaction aspects of this, right? And then potentially push that in as a student project, and either get accepted into the full conference as a short paper, or move into I think they have a student poster sessions as well, and so that would be, if you're interested in going to Naughty Kai, which is the ACM's Computer Human Interaction Conference in October, then that would be, some of the stuff would be appropriate things to write up as a 4-pager. And I think it's the 14th of April, it might be the 12th of April, but it is after Easter, but it's about 3 weeks away. But forgive me, you guys, some of you have started looking at writing up. 4-page summary of some of the stuff you're writing for the project might also give you some incentive to get some of that written, and then expand it for your final report. Right? So if you're interested in that, then if you look up Nordic Chi, so like Nordic, but you remove the C and add CHI, computer human interaction. And it's in Oslo, so it's easier to travel to, and it's a good place to meet other people in the Scandinavian region and internationally who are working in HCI areas. Okay, so if some of you are now moving into that writing up stage, and you can discuss the interaction aspects of what you're doing. Okay, that's great. So we leave you for the so it's now 2 o'clock. We did that in an hour, which is good. So you guys moved quickly. I keep you moving. So now it's just working for the next hour and a half, and then it's writing your reflections on the day and any challenges you had. And remember these, and you guys could probably start talking about if you've got any questions about the structure of the report as a process. Think about those and okay. Any other feedback from you guys? So I think you actually presented better now than you did earlier. You seem to be getting more comfortable presenting. So you've been working on this for a while now, so you're familiar with it. So you feel more comfortable talking about what you've actually done yourself. Yep, much. So one of the things, like just the general advice for presentation, because we were discussing some of this earlier, was as a lecturer, one of the things you do is when I'm presenting, so when I come to a new course, so I'm about to do this in Victoria where I just started a discussion of what the game development course here looks like. So there's 2 approaches. One is I take all the slides and just present the slides as they were from the other person. Right? Generally this creates a stale and a disconnected presentation because it's not my natural way of progressing from one thought to the next, because it was someone else's natural progression from one thought to the next. So it is generally better to take the material, read what they've done, throw it all out, and then think how I would explain the same concept. Right? Now, if you're also presenting to a mixed audience, what I did as a first year lecturer, also because I was presenting to the under 1,000 students, I was interested in trying to get examples that worked for my audience, and I was really confident that I can put my mind in the mind of an 18-year-old game programmer who had been programming since they were 10 and has used computers and are really familiar with maths and computer science, right? That's easy for me to do. Harder for me to put my head inside a 20-year-old woman who is coming to this as her second degree, having already done English literature. That's a harder place to get my mind to. And so what I went is I went to one of our staff members who was one of those who was actually a 25-year-old, 30-year-old woman who had done an English literature degree and was then teaching our computer science, some of our tutoring, and I asked her to give me examples in the way to present this idea. So I talked to her about the idea, got her to give me an example. So for example, if you're presenting to this group of interaction designers and computer scientists, if you're the computer scientist, ask one of your interaction designer group to say, hey, how would you explain this concept to the people in your class? And the same the other way around, right? If you're a natural interaction designer and you want to kind of present something to a group of computer scientists, ask, how would I explain this concept? What's an analogy you would use that you would understand? Right? So reaching out towards your audience and what they understand. Now you guys I think are quite lucky because now having worked together for the last few weeks, well, a couple of months, you've started to understanding each other's language and where you're coming from and what you're trying to achieve. And so I think your present styles, patient styles are coming closer together, which I think is useful. But you just get that by osmosis of hanging out with people as you kind of learn some of the ways of doing things. Okay. But no, I think those were generally reasonable. It is useful to stand when you're presenting. Sometimes just sitting feels very low-key. But this is a relatively low-key environment, so that's okay too. In terms of the projects, I think you guys can also see there is like various levels of progress being made in them, but that's okay. This isn't just an end goal measurement, right? We're not just measuring you on the project, it's the process and also the reflection on that process, right? So yeah, don't be disheartened if other groups seem to be further along than you, and don't get cocky if you think, haha, we're done, we're not going to do anything now, and write a 2-page process and project report. It won't help. So no, I think you guys are all making progress, and so that's good. So keep working, and yeah, well, if you need me to answer any questions this afternoon, I'm around. And again, reminding that next session would be after Easter, which would be the 4th, which we have collectively decided will be a find that 8 hours at some time yourselves, either during some of the Easter period or in the week after the Easter period. So we won't have a formal session on this day on the 4th here, but try and use that to do some user testing or to find your own time to use the vibes and stuff. Okay? And so our next session on site here will be the 11th of April.